Hey, let's get this rolling. Is Mitch on or not?
He's going to be about 5 minutes late.
He's going to be 5 minutes late. Okay, so what was the topic today? Because I was out of touch last week trying to get over this.
Today it's preparing yourself for 2023. What are you doing on your marketing?
Love it. Okay, so let's start off with Lurchy because the Phillies are in the World Series. So what are you going to be doing to get prepared for 2023? I mean, the market's shifting everywhere. Nothing's immune. And what are you going to be doing as far as your marketing and your budgets and so forth? I know most of us are preparing those right now. What's your process in doing that?
We actually went into two things. I talked about last week, starting January 1st, November 1st. If you're not following me on TikTok, it's real. I'll put it into the chat. Follow me. We put out November 1st, the 2nd. I'm on day 2 of ideas. I'm committing 60 days of new ideas going out there to help you build your business. Everything that I'm doing to change. I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. So follow me. Boom, done. That's number 1. Number 2, we sat and I use Agent Hub 360, which comes through EXP. You can get it without it. If you want to tie into it, I can help you out if you're not in EXP with Kelly and those guys. And we literally broke down everything we spend in our business, from what's lockboxes cost us here, what's it cost a month. I found out my monthly burn. Woo! Did that hurt? Man, that's changing. And everything from your travel and everything has to go in there. What is your monthly business burn? If you're not doing that, you're not breaking it down to ridiculous, you're kidding yourself. All you're doing is playing smoke and mirror to yourself. Commit to yourself in the next 2 weeks, get all your bills that were on your tax returns, break them down to a month, put them into a spreadsheet, either thrill yourself, be happy with yourself, or throw up on yourself, but figure it out and get going, because this is where you make money in the first quarter. Right now, not in 2 months. Right now is where you're going to make money in the new year.
I love it.
Those are the 2 things I'm doing.
Let me ask you this, Lurchy. So why is it so important to know what your monthly nut is with your business and your marketing and how your business runs? Why is it so important?
Well, you can go out, you can literally go bankrupt with an ego trip. It's not a matter of what you make, it's what you're keeping. And that's the key. We all have this ego. Oh, I'll spend. Well, that was great in a good market because it was still coming in. But it's not coming in right now, or it's slowing down, or it's readjusting, whatever you want to call it. You need to be ready for it. But also, it's like cleaning your brain out. It's like doing a detox of alcohol. We talked about, Pete, that we're trying to go as long as we can. And since Las Vegas, I made a commitment to you. I'm still there, which is tough for the ROG. I'm telling you, we sat at lunch. I told you when I go back, I'm going to do this. So that was a commitment that you and we talked about. So it's not easy. You got to cut stuff out of there. You got to cut out, stuff, if you don't have a good accountant, get one. If you don't have a good financial advisor, get one. Be good at what you do, because if not, you'll put yourself out of business. Brokers are broke because they're named broke. You can be out of business very easy on your own ego. And I've been there, done that. There's a lot of agents that do that. And Frank Goves talks about it. He did $2.5 million of sales. He was 200,000 in the hole after taxes. He still owed 200,000 and he made 2.5 million. And that was 11 years ago, but I'm just giving situations. It does happen no matter how big of a team you are. So you need to check. Was somebody used this line? You got to get your poop in a group. All right, get it together.
Well, I think most people are doing that. I like what Lurchy's saying. Most people are going through what their expenses are every month, line item by line item, and seeing what they can cut out without affecting their marketing or how they're producing, right? And I think that's really important. What are you doing for marketing this upcoming year? Are you changing up any marketing? Give me 3 of your key marketing streams that help your income.
Social media is 100% right across the infield. We're going 2 posts a day on every piece of social media that's out there. We are doing pop-ups once a month now that will be through social media. I'll promote, hey, Craig's going to be out somewhere in this area. Watch for him. He's giving something away. Doesn't mean what I'm in. You got to find me. And I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I'll be there 30 minutes. I'll give pizzas away. I'll do whatever it is at a local restaurant that I know. All right. And then also we've set things to have small intimate meetings with groups of 20 of our clients every other month for a 2-hour cocktail party. Not huge, because you can't control huge. You can't get there. Oh, and another thing, if you're not using HomeBeat, for every house that you have for every client, we just put 2,000 houses in the Google to show what we had. Our goal is to have all 2,000 of those clients that were listings of ours on HomeBeat within the next 3 months.
What is HomeBeat? Explain it.
HomeBeat is a tie-in that you can actually, it's a CMA that searches around the house and lets the seller know, or let your client know everything that changes. It's live stream of what's happening. If they want a true CMA, they push a button to you and it alerts you. But every time they click it, it lets you know they've clicked it. So they're watching it and you're getting to see. If somebody's clicking it more often, you may want to reach out and say, hey, by the way, just touching base. I had 2 clients we hooked up last week, and they both called me and says, hey, we're thinking about it because we know we've got about 20-30% appreciation in the past 4 years on our house. We might reload. Can you give us an idea? They were thrilled at the number, but I can tell you, I was not calling them. I was not following up on them. All I did was put them into the HomeBeat system. My assistant did, and that triggered 2 calls.
Yeah, I
So
think you mean HomeBot, right?
HomeBeat?
HomeBot, HomeBot, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
No, I'll get the name of it. I'll go.
It's HomeBot.
I'll put my screen to dark and I'll get you the name of it in the other room.
It's HomeBot.
Hats. It's the same cheesesteak, right? HomeBot,
Yeah.
HomeBeat, same stuff. So HomeBot, I think it is, because HomeBot almost acts as its own Zillow, or giving the homeowners estimates and so forth, you guys, but it also informs you they're clicking on and being notified when things are coming up for sale or going pending or closing around their area. So people like that. It gives them its own market report.
Thank you for explaining that, Pete. I don't know that. I just know it works. I don't worry about the details. I only go into does it work or doesn't it work? And I know it works from following you guys. I picked that up off of you guys 4 months ago, and I finally got it implemented 2 months ago, and it's finally getting reaction now. So thank you, team.
Love it. So social media, who does
Social
your-
media, small groups of clients.
Yeah. Do you use a VA or how does that work?
The social media, what I typically do is I go right on here, TikTok. I need to do at least 2 a day, and I do 1 live a day. That's number 1. It downloads, then I send it to my VA. She'll take my watermark. She'll take the watermarks off and she'll reprocess it. Again, in the YouTube. Another thing we found out across all your social medias, your Google page, your realtor.com, your homes page, make sure that banner is the same, because it makes you look bigger. If the algorithms feed on each other, the more consistent that banner is. So that's another thing we did. And we just got our Google rating up to 93% just by going across the line on all our stuff as consistency.
And make sure you have your DRE number on every single post that you do, you guys. That's one of the requirements in most states. Check your state out, but that a lot of people pick on those things. So
And social media is free. It's you doing it.
Yeah.
Hire a VA that can clean it up and go from there. And
Which-
we know we have 700 posts going out already set for next year. We know that the dates, the times, and everything are already placed because we watched our algorithm in time where people are watching analysis. So
And how many, the people on your team, are they doing posts also?
they're learning it. A lot of people are fearful, and it's amazing. In the area, I started doing the social media, like the heavy TikTok stuff. Like I'm over 3,400 people now, which is in less than 8 months. But
Wow.
people in my marketplace, people weren't doing it. Now, all of a sudden, all the big agents that weren't doing it, we're all giggling. Oh, you're crazy. Guess who's following? They're all following. It's not if, it's when, like EXP too, but it's not if, it's when they're going to go to TikTok. It's the new
The
platform.
plug, like the plug and everything. So we're doing social media. We're doing the pop-ups. The pop-ups, are you making deals with the bars or the restaurants or
Yeah.
wherever you're going to be, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going into them and they're giving me cuts on the price. Maybe it's 50% off to give the pizzas away. Some of them are giving them to me. They'll do whatever. And then also with Google, I got approved as one of the local review persons. So I can now go to a restaurant, take a picture of the place, take a picture of the food, put a short snippet in, take a video with the real quick 30-second video with the manager, the owner. Hey, by the way, I'm with Mario. I was here, blah, blah, blah. I like this, bang. I send it to them. They post it. I post it. So now I'm the expert in the area on the restaurants and I'm on their page. Plus it goes on my page And Google likes to even send me out more because I'm literally working and giving them reviews for free.
I like it.
And it's
Okay.
free to do.
Yeah. Are you doing mailers? Are you doing farming? Are you doing postcards? Are you doing newsletters? What are you doing as far as print?
We're doing the 10 houses we're doing 100 houses around every listing through listings to leads that has the QR code on it. We put
Yep.
some information, but we really want them to hit that QR code because it sucks them in at that point. And again, on every house, we also made a QR code that goes to our listings, the leads and stuff like that, that says, what's your home worth? So every house that we have for sale, we have a QR code for the house and its tour. And we actually have another sign next to our stand-up sign that says, what's your home worth? They click that, boom, we're picking that up too. So what people are curious, what's my house worth? Oh, I'll click that, boom. So trying something different.
Do you have a certain budget a month with doing that, or is it just consistent where every time you get a listing or a closed listing? I'm assuming you do it on just listeds and solds, correct?
We're doing it through that letter. It's that letter that's looks like it's kind of handwritten. I have just a student that writes neat, pay him, $10, $15 an hour cash, whatever it may be. But they're writing the envelope out, handwriting the return address, stamp on it, going out. But it has the letter says under contract or sold. And we're actually starting to do it in the homes around our office for other agents that have sold. We're doing their listings. We're not doing their listing. We're calling it market update. We're not saying we listed it. We're giving you a market update. And you'd be surprised at how many people say, oh, I didn't know you sold that house. I'm giving you a market update. I'm not saying I did. I'm saying I'm giving you the information.
Okay, cool. I like it. Lurcher,
What do those things cost? Less than $100 between the signs in the front yard and doing the mailers per listing.
the real estate opportunity guide, the otherwise known as the ROG. I love it. Let's move on to Brian Yarbrough, who's up in Montana. He's getting ready for the big Yellowstone premiere on the, I think the 18th or the 19th this month. So he had to get up into his Montana gear and get going.
Yeah.
That's it. It's Brian. He's right now live at Dutton Ranch.
With 4 inches of snow outside today too.
Wow. Geez.
Yeah.
Ready.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's cold and that's already happened. And so what are you doing for your marketing going into 2023? What are you changing? What are you doing? What's the plan?
Well, those around me who know me here know I kind of rely a lot on a book of business that's just fed me for 30 plus years. So, you know, what I start the year off with is what I end the year off with every year. And I've been very consistently mailing a Christmas card to start the new year off with the added additions to the size of my family, but it also kind of ends the year, right? So Christmas cards have been something I've been doing. I got into real estate single, and in 91 when I got married, or 92, we sent out a Christmas card, and that Christmas card has gone from just myself and my wife to the addition of our first child, to the addition of our second child, then to the size of our family just growing, and then we ended up with a son-in-law in one Christmas card, and then another son-in-law in a Christmas card, and then now a grandbaby in a Christmas card, and now another grandbaby. And we have this collection. We have over 30 years of exact Christmas cards, and every 25 years we put one together and make a real cool one. And then we just keep this thing going. What I've learned from it is that when I send that Christmas card, it establishes a reconnection, number one. It also is a kind of just a personal touch. It's not about my business. And I connect with them in such a way that most of my clients have done the same thing over the years. They just don't share it outwardly. You know, in other words, I find out they're maybe divorced, or I find out that they have a new baby, or I find out they have grandkids. And I reconnect pretty much the first quarter with everybody, make sure I have mailing lists done. And then what I do is really, I love to share my wins with my community. So if I list or sell a property that's not in my normal market, I still share that with my community, because I want to plant the seed that I'm everywhere. Everywhere they want to be, I can be. You know, Brian Buffini once told me, my clients aren't everywhere, or excuse me, I'm not everywhere, my clients are. And when he told me that, what he was telling me was, you know, he went to Chula Vista for a listing appointment and then Oceanside the same day for a walkthrough. And And I used to say that, I go, man, Buffini, you're everywhere. And you go, no, man, my clients are. And you have to remember that. So I learned that to sell properties, I think I'm up to 57 zip codes in Southern California, that to do that, you know, I need to share those wins. So people say, hey, Brian, I saw you sold a property in Palm Springs, but you're in San Diego. I'm like, yeah, I've got a listing in Port Hueneme, which is by Santa Barbara, 160 miles away. I'm everywhere for you, right? So if I have trust, so I like to market, you know, share my wins, stay connected with my book of business. A lot of times I get hand-me-down referrals from kids who are now needing their own house. But then I tap into something that makes me look really professional. And I'm going to let Randy talk about this. Randy and his team created something for a seller who manages sometimes 20 or 30 properties on the market at all times. And when you meet with your team and you need to look at your marketing one property at a time and be very effective and efficiently, you need a very good system. So Randy's called it done for you marketing. I don't take a listing without turning on the done for you marketing strategy, because they're smart people. They know what they're doing, and I'm not techie.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
All right. I'm going to segue over to you anyway when Pete's done with me. But those two things, Pete, you know, for me now, if I'm a newer agent, what I do going into this year is I make sure that whatever CRM I'm using, my CRM information is up to date. Matt Battiat is not here today. Matt's already pre-bought all his marketing. I don't do TV. I don't do radio. Matt does that very effectively. He's not here today to share that. He's shared it before. So I'm real simple. I just love to connect with my community. I typically will like to either meet with somebody a quarter or two who I know has either had a property on the market. We took it off because it didn't sell, because that's the kind of market we're transitioning from. I do encourage my clients to not panic sale. So I said, listen, let's remove your house from the market. Let's adjust and let's look at the marketing and going into next year and then reevaluate. So my marketing really is just me staying connected with my sphere of influence with other agents. And I'm really big on using team people now and helping my team grow their market by me sharing my wins with my market with them. And I bring in a buyer's agent when needed. I love to bring in new buyer's agents. I match my buyer's agents with the personalities. So I know who my clients are. I need a rough personality, or I need a baby, soft personality. I have those available, and I stay on top of them, and I let them market my properties as well. So I'm kind of an old school marketer. It's very relationship for me. I'm not real in your face with a lot of social media because it's just really, I don't understand it very well. And so I haven't just really gone outside my bubble for that.
No, I love that. Is there anything that you're cutting out this year in your marketing?
Cutting out, the technology is changing so fast that I never really got real high into it. So, my Facebook and Instagram, I don't leverage them just because I never have. So I haven't started doing it. And so I'm going to cut out following trends, and I'm just going to stay current on what I do, if that makes sense. So I don't believe in going out and trying something once and then failing at it and then all of a sudden disappearing. If I'm not good at it, if I'm not really skilled at it, and I can't hire somebody to do it for me and make me look good, then I'm not going to venture into it. So I don't think I'm cutting anything out. I think I'm just going to continue to stay more connected than years past. I think that's the key. If you're not marketing to your sphere, just remember somebody else is.
That's true. Yeah. Somebody's going to pick it up if you don't do it. All right. I want to go over to Randy, because I know Brian and Randy team up a lot over at CT Homes and what they're doing and so forth with their past clients. So Randy, is there anything you can share? I think you have some slides to share, right? Is it possible to share them on the Zoom or not?
No, I don't have anything right now. I shared the report as example for everybody to see what Brian is talking about. It's in the comments. That's what Brian mentioned, the done for you. That's something that I've launched years ago for my team before we moved over to EXP, but we continue using that service, which is in-house, for anyone that wants to, use it on their listing. So I use it personally. Of course, Brian uses it, and several team members. So it just makes us look good, right? So that's just a side note. You can see an example of it, what that looks like that our clients get every Monday. But for myself, I've been actually doing this now. I'm reviewing all my systems, kind of like what Craig was talking about. So I'm going through one by one. The first thing I did is I went just actually this past week through my social media and just see like, okay, what are the descriptions on all these channels? Because I've noticed, like, of course, like everybody, if you don't update them, they start, I noticed like, oh, I changed the LinkedIn one, a year ago, but I didn't change the Facebook one, and they're just not even the same anymore, right? So I went and I basically cleaned that up so everything is consistent, right? As far as my sales volume, transaction volume. So everything is consistent on that front on all social media platforms. And then Craig, thanks to you, a week ago, you mentioned your girl, Alisa, I think.
Listen, yep.
Yeah, I talked to her actually yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, and she's going to actually set up my Google business page, which I already have set up, but she's going to do my sales. So she's actually going to go through my Zillow, like my Zillow account, and I have 600 and 80 sales in there between myself and the team over all the years that they keep track. She's going to actually scrub that, copy and paste each address, and then she's going to put it in Google Map that she's going to create like she did for you. So now I'm going to have all of my sales for myself and the team in a Google Map format, which is of course good for SEO for Google, which I try to Google that and figure it out myself after you told us. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, let me just talk to her. And she was like, all right, I'll do it for an hour. It will take me an hour. I'll charge you $60. I'm like, done. So
It's done. Anybody needs to connect to her, get to me, I'll give it to her. Oh, by the way, Randy, real quick with that, was on an appointment the other day, everybody. And the client goes, look, I talked to another top producer in the area too. I'm like, that's great. I have one question. I went to my Google page. I said, do they have that? And they're like, what's that? I said, that's my Google sales. They're all verified by Google. Did they ever have that? They called the agent and say, do me a favor, snap me a picture of your Google page. I said, no, let's look it up right now. They had like 2. I said, so you want a person who's behind the trends, or you want a person that's in the trends? And guess what we got? $1 million listing.
Listen, the ROG trendsetter. Go ahead.
That is awesome. So yeah, so like that's another part of the system, right? Improving things that I already have. Like I have a Google business page. It's got good reviews because I point people there, but like, can I make it better? Right. So it's, can I make it better by editing what's there? Can I add things like what Craig just shared? So being part of these type of groups allows me to hear of things that I haven't thought of and then make my improvements in my system. And then I'm reviewing my communication with my sphere. So HomeBot, I use HomeBot and I love it, right? So I've been using that. But what do we usually do as agents? We forget to add our most recent clients to it, right? So anytime you close a transaction with a buyer, you make sure that your checklist is add to HomeBot, right? Because now they own a home. And guess what? They're going to want to know, what is that home worth on a monthly basis, right? They're curious. So make sure you keep adding, right? So I'm checking my checklists to make sure that HomeBot gets updated on a regular basis. So I found a few that I had to add there. I'm thinking about improving my email communication as well. So I usually send a quarterly update, market update to my sphere of past clients and leads we're working with, actually going out there looking at properties, like warm leads. And then maybe I'll send that, I'll do a PDF of it to show you what I do, right, with that, and I'll put it in here. So that's been working well. And I actually insert some of my, over the last, I would say, last 2 quarters, I actually added a personal section first. So I actually update them on what's going on in my life. So it's not just a market update, but also like, hey, here's a little bit about what's happening. And I would put like my baby girl's first birthday, that was in May. And I add a picture, right? And then this last one I just sent last week, I added my dad's 70th birthday party and I added that. So I figured, you know what, let me kind of like connect with my audience, my sphere a little bit on the personal level. And I've gotten actually more responses to that than I received from the market updates alone, which that's what I did prior. So now it's personal first, market update underneath it. It's just an email, nothing fancy, but I'm actually getting responses from my sphere like, oh my goodness, like your girl is so cute, or oh my goodness, congratulations to your dad, right? And that's, I don't need to talk to them about real estate. That just shows me that they're reading what I'm sending, right? And they're engaging with me, right? So anyway, so I've made those tweaks and I'm measuring, right? Is that really working? And it is, right? So now I'm thinking like, what else can I do maybe in between so they don't only hear from me once a quarter, right? So the owners are in HomeBot, so that's good. They hear from me once a month. But how about the people that I help sell their home, right? How do I stay with them on a regular basis, more than just once a quarter? So I'm looking at ideas there. I don't have that yet. Once I do, I'll tell you. But and then lastly, and I'm checking it with I have 3 solid referral sources, right? So we've talked about this at previous masterminds here, that, you know, a good way to also start building your book of business is to team up with companies that only literally just generate referrals for agents, such as Homelight, Zillow, Beacon. I'm part of Beacon, part of Ojo. But anyway, so I have a few that I'm a part of that are like 3 strong ones. So, and I've noticed, of course, the lead flow is slower, just like for everybody, right? Well, but that doesn't mean I don't talk to them. So whoever is my account manager, I just check in with them like, hey, how are things going? Right. So I'm just kind of reestablishing my engagement with my account managers that send me their referrals and then stay on top of me, right? Because it's all accountability, right? Once you get a referral, they're like checking on you, like, hey, are you working with this client? Hey, you need to update your notes, right? So even though I have nothing to update them on, if I don't have a current client, I still want to at least send out a message to my account manager and check in like, hey, how are things going? How is the lead flow? You know, happy holidays that are coming up. So I'll be doing that in the next month. And then lastly, I would say educating our buyers, because there's a lot of buyers that we have in a pipeline and my team where you hear the same thing consistently. Oh, they're going to wait because interest rates are too high. So I'm teaching, like I just had a call with Jessica, who's like, you know, my right-hand agent on my team. And we have a client that said exactly that. They got a pre-approval from a lender, a new one, because we've been working with her for like 8 months. And she was so shocked, right? How high it was, like $3,300 on a $450 condo. And she's like, oh boy, I'm going to wait. And I was like, hey, Jessica, I was like, we got to rethink how we communicate this, right? Because the lender, they're not going to think outside the box, right? It's up to us to do that. I was like, guess what? There's people and sellers out there that are starting to offer seller financing. I was like, what if we can find this client of ours, a seller that's willing to do a seller carryback at maybe a 5% interest or a 4% interest? What would that look like for that monthly payment on that $450 condo? And start running those scenarios. So we don't promise it to our clients, but just let them know, let's stay in the game, because these opportunities are coming more and more. And we did a search on the MLS in San Diego. And sure enough, for all of San Diego County, right now, there's only 18 that are offering seller financing today. I'll guarantee you that's going to start doubling every month, right? It's going to keep going up. So set up searches right now for seller financing. Like I just did that yesterday, because I'm really curious. I literally went all of San Diego County and I checked for private remarks to include seller financing, owner carryback, the keywords that we use as agents. I added all those keywords in my search filter and I saved the search, and I'll get notified every time a new listing pops up that is offering seller financing. Because why? I want to show my buyers that are on the fence the statistics of what's happening, of like, look, this is increasing. We're going to find one in your area. Would you be open to doing a seller financing? Do you care who your bank is? Right. So I'm going to lean into educating a lot of our buyers. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make over the next couple months. So they're ready to go even this year still, if not at the worst in January. right? And understand that interest rates, it is what it is, but there's other creative ways to get you in a home on the budget you can afford.
Yeah, I think that's super important, and talk to people right now about all that, because there's a lot of misnomers out there and misunderstandings, especially with the rates going up. But, you know, when it comes down to your marketing, you guys, you have to have different approaches. And a lot of those approaches are making it possible or attainable to get a house, because a lot of people are telling them that they can't. There's a lot of different ways you can slice it with buy downs. You can advertise that way, with seller credits. Even a lot of sellers will carry back right now if they can get, 5-6%. They love that. It's great. It's great stuff, Randy. Let's go from Randy over to Bobby. Bobby, when are you doing your budget? What are you doing for marketing in 2023? And what type of ROI are you looking for on that marketing?
So I've been working on my budget for probably the last 3 to 4 weeks. As you know, I'm a planner. I like to plan things out. And so I've been using a program called Asana to basically lay out my entire business plan into different sections. And I've also been looking at where in my budget is the waste, where are my deals coming from, which are really the most important thing. When you look at where your deals are coming from, and then you look at where you're spending your money, it's very annoying because you're spending money on all the things that seem to not work as well. And then you look at your past clients and all your friends and you look at that and you go, well, I barely spent any money there, but it was 80% of my business. So that's one of the big eye-opening things that I seem to see every single year. And every year I say, okay, I'm going to spend more on my sphere, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But this coming year, I'm definitely all in on client parties and things like that. It's really about outreach to the people that already know you and love you and are willing to give you referrals and things like that, or use you as your agent. And so I think it's very, very important this year more than ever to get super laser focused with your budget, because, as some of you said earlier, Craig, I think Craig, it was you can make a lot of money and then be in the hole in this business very easily, especially if you're not setting aside 25 or 30% of your income for taxes at least, and prepaying your taxes. So, all right, so let me go over some of this other content. We are eliminating some marketing to just answer your question, but not a lot. Probably just an app that we added on that it's doing okay. It's not bringing in a ton of new leads to it. Plus, we have a regular website, so it's kind of like overkill. Putting, one thing I do notice with my budget is I have way too much technology. I'm spending money in so many different spots, so I'm trying to eliminate some of that. And then also, there's a lot of overlays on people that I have hired for running ads and things like that. So I'm trying to get one company to do everything, or maybe 2 companies to do a bunch of stuff. I want to go over something that one of my friends from Albuquerque, Ramon, who's a badass team leader there, he did this post the other day. I want to share this with everybody because it was really powerful. So I'm going to read this to you real quick. The best business advice I received this year was to prepare with this quote in mind. What if the worst month from this year becomes your best month for the next year? So think about that. Your worst month this year, if it was your best month next year, what would that look like for your business? And some people might think that this is coming from scarcity. It's really not. It's really about making sure your budget is in line with your production. And so for what he's advising his agents is to multiply your prospecting efforts times 3, and then your expenses is meant to generate revenue. So if it's not generating any revenue, then get rid of it. And then the last advice is practice scripts, role play, and objection handling like it's your job to increase conversion. And the reason for that one is because you're going to have less at bats, to use a baseball terminology, since we got World Series happening right now. you're going to have less at bats. And so if you are not on top of your conversion, then you're going to be eating top ramen by the end of the year. So it's extremely important. So again, analyze where your deals came from, analyze your budget, and then you got to create a time blocking schedule, especially right now for the next 60 days, because what you do in the next 60 days is going to absolutely impact your business for the first quarter of next year. Not to mention, it's going to allow you to finish strong this year. A lot of people are folding up tents. They're just like, you know what? I'm just going to take some time off. That is a bunch of BS. We got about 12 or 13 million in escrow right now. We're going to put another 8 to 10 million in escrow over the next 2 weeks. So had I had the attitude of like, you know what, the market's slow, woe is me, start crying, then I wouldn't be getting these sales. And so my intention is to finish off the year strong. But where I'm really going to focus on is the people who already know and like me. I'm going to call every single past client. I'm going to go into my phone. I'm going to call every single person in there and make sure that they're in my CRM. And I need a role play partner real quick. How about you, Craigie? So I want to do a quick call with you, Craig. Unmute yourself.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Hello, is this Craig?
Yeah, it is. How you doing?
Hey, it's Bobby Martins over here, Move Up San Diego. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What's going on, Bobby?
Hey, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just wanted to check in with you to see if you have any questions about the real estate market.
Yeah, God, everybody just wants to know where it's going.
Well, I could tell you, man, it's definitely different out there these days. Whether you're buying or selling, there's lots of opportunities. Do you have any plans in the new year to buy or sell?
Not really, unless something dramatic happens in my world that I want to make a jump. But as of right now, I'm kind of comfortable.
You feel good in your property long term? You feel like you're going to be able to stay there 5 years or more?
Yeah, I'm probably in that 5 years. I think Mrs. Lurch wants the 3-year annex, but I'm voting on the 8-year annex.
Where does Mrs. Lurch want to go?
Mrs. Lurch wants a smaller house. I said I'll just hire a second cleaning lady because I don't want to move.
Nice. I love that. It'll probably save you some money. Well, I'm glad you guys love your house. That means I did my job. I noticed on the tax records that, you haven't put the house into a trust yet. Do you need a real estate attorney that can help you with that?
We've met with ours. Our attorney didn't do that, but I think it's kind of all in line. We did all that review last year, but I appreciate the opportunity. That's interesting. I have friends that might need the help. Could I tell them to call you to get this name?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've got a great trust and estates attorney that can help you. Probate is extremely expensive in California. It's about $17,000 to do a trust. It's about $2,000. So not to mention, you don't want your family fighting over the process and all that stuff. So, we always like to check in on you with that, and this is going to be a personal question, but do you have a term life insurance policy set up for you in the event that something happens that will cover your mortgage so that your family is protected?
Yes, it's in place.
Awesome. That's great. You can't imagine how many times I hear no to that question. And
I've gotten threatened to be killed just for this insurance policy.
Hey, Craig, what's your current interest rate?
2.895.
Oh my God, probably never going to see that again. No wonder you don't want to move. Any large home improvement projects on the horizon?
Not that I see. I pretty much stay at it whenever just go.
Well, as you know, I've got some of the best contractors and vendors in town. So, if you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out to me directly. It's not bothering me at all. Don't go to Yelp. Don't go to Angie's List. It's a bunch of crap on those websites. I work with the absolute best people that will help you. So awesome, man. Well, the last question I have for you is, more than ever, we're relying on our past clients to help us with referrals. Who do you know that we might be able to help in the new year?
I had a couple people, I think. Why don't you give me 24 to 48 hours to try to get a couple of people that maybe you can put on that home bot thing that you got, and maybe you can help them. Let me see if I can get that.
yeah, if you think of anybody, just do me a favor. Just do
I'll
a
shoot
text
you an email
message.
with them and their address, and I'll get their okay for an email. Say, hey, you got to watch this thing that Bobby's doing.
Awesome.
You know,
Awesome. Well, thanks, Craig. I really appreciate your your service your business over the years. You've been a great client. I think we've worked together 3 or 4 times. So I really appreciate you, man. Tell the family I said hello. And if you need anything at all, please reach out to me. Okay.
my pleasure. Thanks, man. Be well.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a quick check-in call. You can change it up however you want. Try to ask open-ended questions. If it's a bunch of yes or no's, it's a very short conversation. It's one-sided. So get them talking as much as possible. And then the other advice I would have to the basics, the free basics, paying 10, 15, 20,000. What's going to make you money is the free stuff that you can do. So your open houses, circle prospecting, door knocking. Make sure you have multiple seller options. Randy, you hit the head or the nail on the head with the seller financing. 40% of San Diego is owned free and clear. So if you can teach sellers to become the bank, then you're going to have And the last thing I would say is, focus on buyers right now. Listings, the only listings I'm taking is if they are realistic on the price. Truth matters in this market. If you're not telling the truth, then you're going to go broke, because you're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a bunch of listings that don't sell. And in the past, a fun thing. I should know. I probably have put more houses canceled or expired in the last 6 months than I have in the last 6 years. So, and it was really just a bunch of unrealistic sellers that I fired, or pushed to just take off the market because it just wasn't the right price or wasn't the right time for them to get their price. So that's it for me. Go for it.
Type into the chat what you're using to develop your business plan again. What's that software?
Okay, so the software is called Asana. So I'm going to put that in the chat. It's in the chat right there.
Okay.
And then I got a free little gift for you all. This is a free thing. This Google Doc is basic. This production sheet. What I like about having a production sheet is I call it my takedown list. So every single day I am looking at that list. I look at my active listings. I go down to my pendings. I go down to my hot buyers, my warm buyers, my, all right down the list. I look at it every single day, and it's my low hanging fruit is what's on there. CRMs are great, but I got 20,000 plus leads in my CRM. So it's very difficult to remember all the people in your CRM. So you want to put your hot people on this production sheet that I just shared with you. The Asana, what I like about Asana is if you have virtual assistants or people that are not in your office, like my operations manager, she works from home. I have 2 people, one in the Philippines and one in India, and so these guys do a lot of different projects for me. So with Asana, it's a project-based system that allows you to look at your entire business. And so I simply broke it into the things that matter the most. I have a section for what's important now. These are all the things that I have to do right now. I have a regular to-do list that is the wish list, if you will. And then I have a lead funnels, free or inexpensive list of everything. And then I have lead funnels paid. So anything that I'm doing that is a paid advertising, everything's right there. And I can assign who is the manager of that. So some of my team members help with some of this stuff. We also have lead funnels for referral companies. As you said, Randy, some of these referral companies are great. Ideal Agents, Homelight, Ojo, Effective Agents, OpCity. There's a ton of them. I think Clever's another one. There's a few more, but and then I have a list of all the tech and resources that I pay for. Okay, so that I can easily just look and say, okay, these are all the things I pay for. What can I chop that I'm not using? And it's very simple and easy for me to look at. So yeah, that's about it.
Love it. That's good stuff. And the other thing I was going to say, Bobby did a great job with the role play. I loved it, Bobby. You always want to come from a place of being a resource for people, because you never know when they might need your help. You want to make sure that they're counting on you for your VIP vendor list, or checking in with them, or hey, February is smoke detector month. Have you changed out the batteries in your smoke? Right. We used to do all types of stuff like that. That's why he's laughing. We would send that out to all past clients with little updates and so forth. And some people may think that's cheesy, you guys, but you can send out themed letters to all your past clients, your current clients, your sphere of influence. Every single month can be a different theme to make it fun, with just little tiny things. March, you could send everybody $1 scratch ticket. If you have 1,000 people, it costs you $1,000, but it gives you a reason to follow up and call them and say, luck of the Irish, or happy St. Patrick's Day, or whatever. That's just an example. But when you're talking to those people and you get them on the phone, make it all about them. Say, like one of the questions I would ask Craig on that call, I would have said, so what does your real estate portfolio look like right now? Because that gives me insight if he has properties in other places, or timeshares, or Airbnbs, or VRBOs. And that might turn into a whole different dialogue or different situation, because people are moving all the time right now because everybody's working virtually. So you want to keep that in mind. But when it comes to marketing and marketing for 2023, the key is just to be consistent and focus on 3 things that are going to give you the best ROI. I love Bobby is hyper organized, you guys, and nobody expects you to be him, because you got to have that hair, right? That's the first thing. You got to have good hair. After that, you got to be able to be organized, and he's very, very disciplined with how he runs his business. He's hyper organized on his CRM, on his spreadsheets, on his business planning. He knows what's going in and what's going out, and you need to know that. So if you're a single agent out there, or a new agent, don't overwhelm yourselves. Look for the things that are going to give you ROI that don't cost you anything, right? Bobby said it best: open houses, circle prospecting every day, triple, quadruple your prospecting. Those are things you can put on your spreadsheet or your business plan that do not cost you money. Ojo, or you could be an OpCity, or any of those lead gens. Yeah, you're going to have to pay 30-35% on referrals, but you're not putting any money out to begin with. So those are things to look at too. The key is that you want to keep building your sphere of influence, your connections, the people that you're connected to. Write everybody a quick note and just say, hey, happy holidays. Give me a call when you get a chance. Just wanted to touch base with you, see how you're doing. And don't talk about real estate. Just talk about life and what they're doing and what they've been up to, what their family's doing. Is there anything that you can help them with? I thought that was a great question. If you're not if you're not going to be making a move, who do you know who's thinking of buying, selling, or investing in the first quarter of next year, who wants to do it right away? I have tons of opportunities with seller financing or seller buy downs. Can I explain how that works? Because everybody's nervous, and trust me, the rate's going to keep going up. Nobody on this call can control the rates. Nobody on this call can control the Fed. Nobody on this call can control the psychology of buyers and sellers. You can't. But you have to be sophisticated with how you align yourself and how you straddle those lines with buyers and sellers. Because sellers are 6 months in the past, buyers are 6 months in the future, and all the news is bleak. If you watch any of the news, nothing's going to happen. But when it comes to marketing and your business plan and what you're going to be doing, it starts right now. Don't delay. And if you don't have a business plan, ask us, and we will help you with that. Maybe we should do next week, you guys, how to do a proper business plan for 2023. I think that would be a great one. And, you know, I have one that's one sheet. Bobby probably has one that's around 35 sheets long.
No, mine's actually pretty simple. It's simple is good when it comes to a business plan. It doesn't need to be super complicated.
Just remember, guys, it's easy to make something complicated. It's really hard to make something simple.
It would be good to maybe have Bobby share his screen, show us the one from last year that's
Yeah.
filled out, and how are you gonna, you know, make changes and edits to next year with a blank one, like a blank slate.
Yeah, could you, Bobby, could you do that next week?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to share all of the things that like exactly what I'm doing. that's a tall order
Oh,
to
okay.
show you
Well,
my exact business plan.
Well, why don't you white out some of the things and just go over the basics?
Yeah,
I can do that.
that's
Yeah.
really, that's the goal, really. It's just so, I think the visual of seeing some of the things filled out, I think that's the point.
Right.
We don't need to
Yeah.
see your client's name, addresses, and everything, and all the detailed numbers. I think it's more about, just a
Bobby,
simple.
here's my follow-up question. Top 3 things that you and your team are doing marketing-wise in 2023 to get the best ROI.
Definitely outreach to the past clients, client parties. One of the things that we want to do is to have a quarterly party with every agent that had a closing and their clients. So bring everybody together for a quarterly party. That'll be a good opportunity to ask for referrals and get to know them better. So
Walk
that's
me through that quarterly party. Where do you do it? How does it get paid for? What is the budget? And what are the hours and what day is it done on?
I think Wednesdays or Thursday afternoons are usually better. I don't think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people are always busy. So Wednesday, Thursday afternoons are good for stuff like this. And, budget wise, I mean, it's basically throwing out a bunch of appetizers and buying, a couple cocktails each. So, whatever that costs, $1,000 or whatever. But, if you have, 8, 9, 10 people show up, that's the opportunity for 8, 9, 10 referrals. So, because obviously that conversation is gonna be happening. So as far as other things, I mean, basically what I'm trying to do is do a lot more organic stuff. So YouTube is going to be a big focus of ours this coming year. And just building out as much content on Instagram and YouTube. For me, that's going to be my focus. I'm going to really just be laser focused on content, making the content, giving it to the guys and letting them distribute it as much as possible. But, my main focus is going to be on past clients, because when I look down my list of all my closings, I mean, it's either a referral company that is giving me leads like HomeLight or Ideal or what are these other companies, or it's a past client. I mean, that's a lion's share of the business. Not a lot of Facebook closings, not a lot of Instagram closings. So I think just really focusing on what is working and doing more of that, because what happens is, we spend so much time and energy trying to get something to work that is just a lower percentage closing. So for example, internet leads, it's 1 to 3% conversion rate, so, that's terrible. That's terrible. But if I get a referral, it's a 70%, conversion rate. So I'd rather spend my time doing that and more of that. And so, I've gotten lazy. My team has gotten lazy to some extent. For those of you on the call, I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. We've been order takers for a long time now, and we forgot about prospecting. We didn't need to do prospecting for a while. So now it's really just getting back to the basics, being their resource, and really having the conversation, like, if they are going to do a real estate transaction, am I going to be the agent that you're going to use? And or would you refer me to someone that you knew that was doing a real estate transaction? Having those conversations, if you're not having them, someone else is having them with your client, and then they're going to get the business and not you. And then you're going to cry about, I didn't get the deal. Well, you didn't ask for the order. I just recently had a friend from high school that I had basically given free information for many, many years. And then she just upped and moved to, guess where, Pete? Tennessee.
Whoa.
So she's moving to Tennessee. I see the post of, hey, we're moving to Tennessee. We just bought this house in Tennessee. And, then the next, like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 days later, I see that her house has gone into escrow. Well, I should have, as soon as I saw that Tennessee post, I should have picked up the freaking phone, called her up and said, hey, what's going on? Probably was still too late, but, I can't be mad at her for not, picking me or using me because I didn't reach out enough. I think the last time I talked to her was like a year and a half ago. And I knew that eventually she was going to be a sale, but I took it for granted thinking it was my sale because I gave her all this free information. So my bad, no big deal. It is what it is. But, you never want to lose something. But at the same time, if you don't ask for the order, you don't deserve the business. It's that simple.
Well, and you got to learn your best lessons when you fail. Just remember that. Make sure you fail forward. And when something like that happens, it makes you aware of what you need to be doing and what you're missing out on, because I guarantee you that could happen again also. Just remember, people don't forget about you, Bobby. They think you forget about them. So why should they reward you? That's the big thing, right? People are still living their lives. Brian, go ahead. We got 1 minute left.
Yeah, 1 minute. In 1 minute, Bobby, you said something really, really good that everybody watching this needs to do is that production chart. If you're 3 to 5 years in this business or more, and you have some past production, you need to look at every single past deal you've done and look at them really closely and say, where did this lead come from? Where did I get this actual closed transaction from? And you'll see that if you do 10 past deals or 20 past deals or 30, and you chart them, you might find that 40% of the deals you close came from open houses. That's where you're going to spend the majority of your marketing money going into the next, because clues lead to success, right? So your past deals are your future marketing budget, right? And the most important thing you can do and spend time budgeting for and spending money on is gasoline and previewing property. If you're not out previewing property, there is nothing that you're going to be able to do with more confidence than know your marketplace, know houses, and the budget that you spend doing that will be your greatest asset. I guarantee you will never be without something to talk about if you preview property.
I love it. Go ROG.
On what Brian just said, previewing properties, twist it into your social media. Ask the agent while you're previewing, do you mind if I post this live? Maybe some of my clients will look at it and see it. It makes you the expert. Most agents are afraid to do it. I'm doing it to new construction. I now have agents asking me to do it for their property. I'll do it for free all day. It's going on my social media and I'm getting the buyer. Just a twist. Good job, Brian. Thank you for bringing it up.
Free commercials. You don't need TV time when you have that. That's free. And you know the old saying, if it's free, it's for me. And that's what you have to do, you guys. You can do a lot of business and make a lot of money in real estate by not spending any money. But you do have to spend your time and you have to have knowledge of the inventory and the data, and you got to put yourself out there and do it consistently. That's the main thing that the ROG has been doing. He does it consistently out there. And just remember one thing, and I'll say this, and we'll end it on this till next week. Nobody knows the difference between an open house sign, a for sale sign, a sold sign, a bus bench, a billboard, a social media post, a social media video, a YouTube video. They don't know the difference. They think it's all your stuff, right? A postcard, a market update. They don't know. They'll say, wow, you're killing it right now, because it's all about perception. That's the reality. It's perception. So great stuff today, Bobby. You knocked it out of the park today. I don't know if you got some new hair product or what, but I'm definitely getting you sponsored by Crew or somebody. I'm going to call one of these companies. This is unbelievable.
Please
and
do. I pay too much for this shit.
Yeah, Lurky, you were unbelievable today too. I know you're trying to keep up with Bobby. We're going to get you some hair products too, just for being on the show. I want to thank Randy and Brian and everybody else who's been on. Next week, we're going to continue with the business planning for 2023. We're going to have Bobby walk you through, and all of us going to share different things that we're putting in our business plans so that you can emulate it to be successful next year. All right. So join us next week, and everybody invite 2 agents that you think it'll help their business to be on this next week. Let's try to get this up to 500 people on it. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. Go Phillies.
Go Phillies.
Yeah.
Go Eagles.
See you guys. Have a great,
You guys,
rest of the
you're
week.
awesome.
Have a good one.
Great job.